Arnie and David Diaz from the Diaz duo at Waterstone Mortgage. We'll have our tip of the week call in after our next segment. And we'll also have Adam Contos, the Senior Vice President of Marketing for Remax International. Excited to have him on. Will give us some great concepts and ideas about what Remax is doing from a marketing perspective. But I want to talk next. I saw a couple articles this week, and it reminds me about how Florida's real estate market has become like an international leader, and how our real estate market is now just dramatically impacted by the world. Not just what people are doing in Tampa Bay or in Florida, but really, the world now is kind of paying attention to what's going on. There was an article this week about Chinese buyers, and we've seen that firsthand. We've seen a lot of Chinese buyers inquiring from China in Chinese about luxury real estate here. We've seen the same thing. There was an article this week about how Spanish-speaking women are now a driving force for home buying. And I think
Spanish-speaking women are a driving force for a lot of things.
They are. I would agree with you there. I think you might know some of that firsthand. But what I'll say, but the interesting thing is it's really become a cultural melting pot. Real estate in Florida is a cultural melting pot. And I think anyone that doesn't go into a marketing strategy or a marketing plan when they're selling homes to kind of identify who the niche buyer is, and then appeal to some of those audiences that have unique tastes and kind of unique preferences for a home, it's something that's so important. I mean, at our company, we don't have anyone that speaks Chinese, but we have Russian, we have Spanish, so we have multiple people that speak different languages. And I think it's so important because when you're selling property like we do, and you're massively advertising it everywhere, it's so important to come up with ways to get in front of that audience. And it's funny because a lot of consumers, I always find it interesting, because we'll have clients ask, are you going to advertise it outside of the country? Because I think that, people outside of the country, they'll pay more and they have cash and they'll, people that have cash that are outside of the country, they have a lot of money. That doesn't mean they're stupid, right? Like it doesn't, like there's people that have that myth that, oh yeah, they're going to come from somewhere else in the world, and they're gonna, my house is only worth $500, but you find someone from Europe or
just
South America, they're gonna pay $550.
Best English doesn't mean
they can still do math. Okay? It's math, all right. So if you're a home seller out there thinking about selling, don't eliminate the myth that a foreigner is going to overpay for your home. It's just it's not reality. You do need an agent that knows how to tap into that audience to expose your home to a Spanish-speaking audience or to a Chinese audience. You do need that, and Remax is that's one of the things I love about them. Across 100 countries all over the world, we have connections with agents where we can expose our properties. But interestingly, just because a foreigner has money, they're not going to overpay. They're not stupid. They're still going to protect themselves.
Each group has a different culture. It's kind of as far as a buying type of culture. And for the Spanish, which I can speak to very confidently and very educatedly, they have to get to like you. They have to trust you. And once they trust you and like you, they'll
your
tell
family.
Your family.
Yeah,
your family.
And we've seen that, and it's funny, and I think it's important for agents to have kind of that multicultural training. And we go through this a lot, and it's important why we have people at our company that speak these different languages, because they can speak to our team and educate our team on, hey, look, these type of people are going to warm up to you with this, or this is how you're going to have to communicate with them, or whatever. And I think that's so important because it's just proper customer service. It's helping them kind of come up with their solution, and also knowing how real estate is bought and sold in other parts of the world, so that you can understand how to explain the differences here versus the differences of someone buying in South America or London or Spain, and that's important.
It's a different thing. And not to be disparaging, but I found, like, if you're from the Middle Easterners, they're expert negotiators. I mean, they will negotiate you to death, and quite frankly, you have to be patient with that because that's the way they are.
There's a different process, and I think as a real estate agent, you have to be conscious of all the different cultures, how they communicate, how real estate is done in their country, so you can understand how to not get bothered by how something might come off if it were not, if it were a different scenario, and I think that's a really important part of exposing properties and really penetrating and selling and servicing to you know, an audience of people that speak different languages and are from different countries. So we're going to be back in our next topic. We're going to talk. We've got a couple tips of the week for you. We're going to talk to Adam Contos, the Senior Vice President of Marketing at Remax International. We're going to talk about our smoking hot deals a little later in the show and continue this conversation on the local real estate market right here on 970 WFLA on the Duncan Duo Real Estate Show.